Hello, and welcome to the movie universe. I'm your host, Movie Fan. Today, I'll be talking about Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? If you're familiar with the educational TV game show Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, then you're probably familiar with this as well. This popular Fox Kids TV show ran for about 4 years, from 1994 to 1999. Now, I know technically that makes it 5 years, but actually the show ended on January 2nd, so to give it a full 5th year would technically be wrong. The story centers around a video game where players are trying to capture Carmen Sandiego and foil her acts of villainy. Inside the game, we meet Acme detectives Ivy and her brother Zach, as well as their computer boss, Chief. Together, Ivy and Zach try to stop Carmen Sandiego and capture her once and for all. They usually do all the detective work, putting the pieces together as to what Carmen is up to, while the player helps get information. This show is probably legendary for breaking that proverbial fourth wall because they are constantly talking to the player. The player doesn't talk to them, but they're always talking to the player behind the computer desk. And the player is not just one person. In fact, every time before the show starts, you see a different player staring at the computer, which was kind of a nice touch. It gives you the idea that the game is real popular and that people all around the world love to play it. However, the series does go in a very particular pattern. Carmen steals things from around the world. It could be Mount Rushmore. It could be parts of art that she decides to put together into her own little masterpiece. She even stole famous birthday presents like Elvis's pink Cadillac that he gave to his mother because it was her birthday. And she always deliberately leaves clues just to mess with Zack and Ivy. In fact, there was quite a few episodes where she said this: "You detectives don't have a clue until I give you one." Zack and Ivy would always foil her robberies and get the stuff back, but Carmen would always escape. I'll tell you, that woman is a regular Houdini. You could have her back to the wall in a sharp corner where no one could possibly escape, and she always escapes. And every episode ends with Carmen Sandiego talking to the player, and the player types on the computer back that one of these days they'll get her. And she always basically comes back with a witty comment like, "Good luck with that," or "Maybe on your next birthday," that sort of thing, depending upon what happened in today's episode. As you may have guessed, this was based off of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, but with a very big twist. It starts off going like a computer game, and you see the player, well, you see them from behind anyway, playing the game trying to catch Carmen Sandiego, which, believe it or not, is a really big shout out to the origin of Carmen Sandiego. I say that because originally Carmen Sandiego was a video game. I'm not kidding. It actually started off as a video game where you try to figure out what she's stealing and how to catch her. And just like the TV series, this was an educational game, which taught all about geography and history. And if I ever get those games, I'll have to talk about it. Unlike the other TV shows that this was based off of, this was an animated series, and it was actually pretty good. It wasn't exactly my favorite. I was a sucker for the PBS version, but this was actually pretty decent because it did talk a lot about history and geography. Not to mention the animation was superb because the cities and countries they go to, they look just like their real-life counterparts. And I got to admit, Carmen Sandiego looks absolutely amazing. She still wears that big red fedora and trench coat. And unlike that famous image you see on the video games in the series, you actually get to see her face. And believe it or not, the voice actors and actresses are actually very well known. Ivy was voiced by Jennifer Hale. Most people would probably remember her from all the video game voices that she has done over the years. But she has done a ton of TV shows. The Chief is voiced by Roger Bumpus. You would know him better as Squidward Tentacles from SpongeBob. Zack is voiced by Scott Menville. Most people would probably know his voice from Teen Titans and that other show that will not be named. And of course, Carmen Sandiego was voiced by famous actress, dancer, and singer Rita Moreno. I'm not sure if that name would mean anything to you, but she actually has been in a ton of movies and TV shows, and is still going strong. Like I said, I never really got too into this show because I preferred the PBS versions. My folks especially, because they were educational TV shows. Yes, I know, Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego was educational as well, but there was something about the PBS shows that really caught my attention. Somehow, this one didn't. Even though this show went off the air back in '99, her fame has never waned because there have been a lot of video game series ever since, and especially there have been a lot of reruns. And just this year, they have rebooted Carmen Sandiego on Netflix. Although I don't think I'm ever going to watch this one because I do not like the animation so far and her voice just does not work for me. It could be the generation gap issue, but I prefer real animation, not that 2D style that I'm seeing here. But that's not really important. What is important is where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? You can actually find that on YouTube right now. So if you ever get the time, check it out. You might like it. And most importantly, you might actually learn something. This is Movie Fan signing off.